In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to use OMEN in Valorant. If you enjoy this content and want to see more in-depth guides, you can head over to GameTimePros.com, sign up to be a free member, and get access to exclusive videos. Like all agents, OMEN has a slew of abilities that can be used to either help your teammates or hurt your opponents. So the first ability we're going to be looking at is OMEN's main ability, his E ability, which is arguably the most vital because they are his smokes. OMEN is able to put out 2 smokes before his ability is used up, and for each smoke it takes 35 seconds for it to cool down. Upon pressing E, you can see that we get an alternate view of the map, where there are no walls but all of the obstacles remain. Also, by pressing the right and left mouse buttons, you can see that we can change the distance at which we can place the smoke. If we press R, we can switch between the overworld and OMEN's special view. To actually place a smoke after we pick our distance and which mode we are using it in, we can press E, the smoke will fly over and then expand. You can see that the smoke dropped a little as I place it, and the reason for that is that it actually has a center point which acts as its hitbox. If we were to place a smoke high in the air, you can see that it will drop from the center, and then once the center point hits the floor, it will stop going downward. Another thing to notice is the little green arrow that appears below the smoke. This arrow indicates where the center point is going to be dropped on, so if I were to drop it right here, it would drop on the ground, or if I were to drop it right here, it would drop on top of this obstacle. To demonstrate this, I will place 2 smokes, one on the ground and one on top.
Cover going out.
There goes the first smoke, and you can see it lands on the ground, but if we line up this arrow to where it is on the obstacle and place it, you can see that it lands on top of the box. The next ability we will be looking at is OMEN's Shrouded Step. You can see that when we press the C button, a little portal-like marker comes out of the ground. You can see we can aim the marker about 15 meters away. After we've chosen a destination, we can press left click, and you see that we teleport immediately to whatever that location is. Not only can you travel a horizontal distance, but also a vertical distance. You can see I can aim my cursor up onto the top of this box, and then teleport up to get a specific angle. The next ability we will be looking at is OMEN's Paranoia. If we press Q, you can see we generate a little orb in our hands, and if we press left click, it flies forward. Paranoia is OMEN's most offensive ability, as it deafens and blinds any targets it hits. Not only that, but if you look at the minimap on the top left corner, you can see that the Paranoia can go through walls. This skill is highly advantageous to pushing, as you can blind an enemy through a wall, walk up to their hiding corner, and shoot them in the face. While the Paranoia can reduce a player's abilities, it only lasts for a very short amount of time, so you have to push very fast if you want to use it in full effect. And lastly, we have OMEN's Ultimate. Once my ultimate meter is ready, I can press X and get a view of the entire map. Once I know where I want to go, I simply click,
My ultimate is ready.
and it teleports me there. This skill is not only useful in regrouping with teammates, but also for recon. Let's say I wanted to teleport into an enemy-filled area. I get a brief glance of all that is around me, and if I press X again, it cancels the teleport. In high-ranking gameplay, OMEN's Ultimate is mostly used for recon, as it is very easy to counter and very loud and noticeable to everyone. OMEN's main ability is its most vital, because without smokes, maintaining a site is extremely hard. To see smokes in action, if I were to push up through showers, there are a few good spots to smoke off potential campers. One of the main places you want to smoke off is a tower, also known as Heaven.
Here.
If we go ahead and take a look from the defender's vantage point, you can see there are a lot of angles they can cover in a very short amount of time. In most cases, there's going to be someone sitting in Heaven, so smoking it off is a very good idea. Another popular spot for people to hold an angle at is right here at lamps. Before the round starts, the attackers are blocked from moving up from here and here, but the defenders are only blocked from moving up to here. What this means is before the round starts, someone could be sitting here holding this angle and waiting for someone to peek. One of the best options for a smoke on a site is definitely right here. As for Heaven, smoking right about here in the doorway makes it so there is no way they can peek without coming all the way out to the edge, making them vulnerable. So now let's retrace our steps and go back to pushing through showers. After we've cleared all of these angles in here, it is now time to place the smokes. This is where smoke placement becomes extremely vital, as you want to give yourself a nice space you can plant the spike. If you feel that someone is sitting either here or here, more towards backside, you can smoke both this and this. With that divide, you can see you have a clear cut to plant the spike here, and all you have to check is here, as heaven is completely blocked off. You can also just block off backside by smoking both here and here, which divides the site in half. In my opinion, one of the best pushes with the least amount of angles is over here in A short and cubby. While this is a dangerous angle to hold, it is not too hard to smoke it off and make the defensive side completely unable to peek. Not only that, but once you have this side blocked off, the smoke is just wide enough that you can also block off up to this part of the site. Let's say that there's no one sitting in lamps, but there's someone sitting in heaven and maybe back sight. What you can do to smoke instead is both heaven and right at this angle. You can see that there are practically no angles from inside that they can hold besides right here at lamps. With that, we've pretty much covered most of the A smokes. Now on B side, the smokes are a little straightforward since there's a lot less good places to put them. If you think someone has a sniper over here at B long, then you can place a smoke right here and cut off their peeking. Once you have cleared the corners and pushed up into garden, the two best smokes are right here, going to elbow, and here coming down to the hall. This allows you to push onto site through gardens and also through heaven without this long angle. Other than that, you can also divide this site in half by placing a smoke here on this side and a smoke here on the other side. This means you can plant, but the defenders can't peek you without either going through the smoke and getting potentially shot or coming through elbow. Not only that, but it gives you a lot of variation with your spike planting. You can either plant on the front of site, or you can plant inside the tube. The more uncertainty you can give to your opponents, the less likely they are to push you. And now with both sides clear on attacking, let's move to defending. For the most part, Omen is a heavily defensive player, so you might find yourself doing a lot better on defense rather than attacking, but he can still be useful on both sides. One of the best ways to play Omen, especially on bind, is to place smokes reactively. What I mean by this is wait for the attacking team to push and then place your smokes. Let's say that the attackers are pushing up short and showers. The best way to react to this is to smoke them off right here and right at showers. You want to make it so the enemy team has to push out without having any cover in order to peek and go through the smoke. This way you can get a lot of easy picks. You also want to take your teammates into account. Let's say one of your teammates decided to push up showers immediately at the start of the round. If they're peeking, they don't see anyone, or if they do see someone, immediately smoking here may not be the best idea. At the same time, if someone's trying to peek this angle right here over at short, it may not be the best idea to just smoke them off as they won't be able to get any kills. Smokes are mainly for initial contact, but they can also be used to recapture a site. Let's say the attacking team planted right here over at A short. If I wanted to peek up here at heaven, one of the first things I would smoke off is right here at lamps. The angle inside of lamps is a very popular one to peek, especially if you're playing for short, so you want to smoke it off so it doesn't catch you off guard. Let's say the spike is being planted here towards showers and you're coming through defender spawn. Some of the angles you want to be watching out for are this right here and this right here. If you're trying to go around through lamps, it's not a bad idea to smoke right here as well, as you can cut off that angle, check here, and then rotate around. Another good way to push up to the spike is to cut off the team. Let's say that they're sitting back here, over in cubby or in short. You can smoke here again, and peek these angles with a lot less pressure. And now that does it for A defending. Now, conversely to attacking, there's a little bit more wiggle room here on defending B site. The places you're going to mainly make first contact are right here at Fountain with this line of sight, and usually either already up here in window or down here in link. But because of the length of all these routes to B, it makes it a little hard to smoke right off the bat. Even if the attackers were to push up through B, the starting shield is right about here, so you would also have to peek this angle. And by that time, if you had played the smoke right here, they'd be able to push through no problem even before you got to peek. A good way to use your smokes on B side is actually to help your teammates fall back. Let's say the enemy team is being really aggressive and pushing up through here, and your teammate is sitting right here in the doorway, you can smoke right here, let them run back, or even right here to make it hard for them to place on the site. Smoking window right here blocks off pretty much all of the angles they can get on the site, and it's a very crucial spot. Over here on long, it's largely the same thing, where if you were to smoke this immediately, there wouldn't be a lot of room for you to shoot or your enemies to shoot, and it would just cause kind of a blockage. Another reason that smoke isn't too good to have is the angles you're holding here aren't that good. If you were to sit here in this corner, you can't get across without either going through the teleporter to the other side of the map or running through fire. Because of that, people mostly peek this angle, but that also means that people are looking at this angle as well. The two angles here are very confrontational on both sides, as you basically just have to peek it and hope you get the shot in first. So instead of smoking this off, all you want to do is take a little bit of a peek, maybe get a kill or two, and then fall back. If no one is watching here over at long, or if you think someone's coming up and your teammate has to fall back, one of the best places to smoke is right here. This smoke works basically the same way as the window smoke, where you block off all the angles they can take without stepping out into line of fire. If you want to retake the site, and let's say the spike has been planted either here or on this side, and you can't see it while coming through from defender spawn, you can actually use the same smoke we use on attacking, which divides up the side like this and this. That way any angles over here get blocked off, any angles from window, and angles from here. So basically the only thing you have to worry about is here, here, and people stepping out. Another common retake smoke is this one right here at the edge of elbow. The reason for that is, if they've already taken the site, a lot of people will start sitting here waiting for someone to come through defender site spawn. Putting the smoke there means you can peek these angles with a lot less heat coming from over here. And with that, we've covered the basics of Omen and how to play him on bind.